to give you $1.1 billion. This is the type of income, yeah, $1.1 billion. This is the type of income that Solomon was getting way back then. Way back then, he picked up $1.1 billion. Just 1 year. Alright, keep reading. Let's see what other kind of stuff Solomon had back then.
Beside that he had of the merchantmen, and of the traffic of the spice merchants, and of all the kings of Arabia, and of the governors of the country. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of gold went to one target. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pounds of gold went to one shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with the best of gold.
So I've been looking at all kind of cribs. I ain't seen nobody sitting on no ivory, nothing with gold laced in. I seen leather sofas. I done seen some nice stuff on cribs now. I really have. Not looking like this though. Keep reading though. Watch how dope his crib is.
The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind. And there were stays on either side on the place of the seat. And 2 lions stood beside the stays. And 12 lions stood there on the one side, and on the other side the 6 steps. There was not the like made in any kingdom.
I wasn't really sure if these were real lions or if they were statues of lions, but either way, ain't nobody living like that, I can imagine though, they could be real. But keep reading.
And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold.
So now we drink out of glass. Y'all know glass come from dirt. We drink out of plastic. We drink out of styrofoam. Stuff like that come from trees, that type of stuff. So they were drinking out of gold. They were drinking out of gold. He ain't done. Keep reading.
And all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver.
All the vessels of the house. So like when you open up the cabinets, we ain't got no silverware. And then most of us don't even got silverware. Most of our stuff be stainless steel. We don't got silverware. It said everything they got was gold when they opened up their cabinets. Go ahead, keep reading.
None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon.
See, when I was reading, I went to another source when I was reading about Solomon, and they say that Solomon, the reason his kingdom was this beautiful is because God wanted you to see what his kingdom was going to be like. Now, I can't imagine God's kingdom. I really can't. But I can't imagine this at all. We just imagine opening up the cabinet and everything just glistening from gold. Like we ain't got no what you call that, no Chinaware, none of that crazy. Everything gold. That's what we eating on. Keep reading.
And 23, 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram.
So there you see he got a navy too, right? Navies is what make countries powerful. That's what made Spain so powerful during the slave trade, which, by the way, Edom put out the money for that. But, that's what made them so powerful with their navy. That's what made the British so powerful. That's what made America so powerful. Because America got a powerful navy. That's why they tripping when China get an aircraft carrier last year. Because they ain't one aircraft carrier. They like, oh, man, they get an aircraft. All the little nations down there by China start tripping. And the reason they start tripping is because, see, with an aircraft carrier, that means that, a plane can't make it. One of them fighter jets can't make it from China to America. Put it on the aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier can sit right next to your land. And now that plane can fly all up in there. So you got to have your Navy to be powerful. If you ain't got no Navy, you ain't a powerful. See, people think America's the most powerful country because we have money. No, that ain't it. The richest country, or who making the most money, is actually Kuwait. Like when you look at it, you see who money worth the most, it's Kuwait. But what we got is a Navy that can't be messed with. And that as long as we can keep that Navy on lock, America's the strongest. But I don't think they're going to keep that. I think Europe going to have something to say about that before it's all said and done. But they're going to be the ones sitting on all the money. But anyway, keep reading.
For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom.
So this dude here, the smartest and the wisest man. Like Bill Gates ain't got nothing on dude. On Solomon, like he said, he surpassed all the kings of the earth. And if you understand anything about that, like that money just keep moving down. So, it's not like the kings of the earth back then just, didn't have nothing. No, as a matter of fact, looking at it, they had more. But this one was the highest king. He had the most wisdom and the most bread. Keep reading.
And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, and garments and armor and spices, horses and mules, a rate year by year.
Go ahead.
And Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen. And he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the cities for chariots, and with the king at Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And the king made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones.
I just really want to make sure we read that part. He said he made silver like stones. This is silver. I think I have a piece of silver around my neck. Just imagine this all over. You just walk outside and it's just silver everywhere, like dirt. So I'm saying this what kind of king, this kind of money. This is what Israel. This is when we was a nation. We was on top. Like the song say, we was balling. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we're going to take this over to Deuteronomy 28. Because when we go to Deuteronomy 28, we're going to learn that the Lord told us that. You know what I'm saying? The Lord showed us that, you know, you can get these blessings if you do it one way, but then he got some curses to put upon you too. See, that's what we, you know, going to learn about here. Because it say the class is called the rise and fall of the black man and his nation. And we seeing it. We're going to see a little more, but we seeing. Man, we had it going on. We really did. But the Lord had to take that from us, though. We didn't know how to act with it. You know, Solomon, what we didn't read about Solomon is that he started going to them other guys shortly thereafter. So we didn't read that. You know, we just read the stuff about how much money he had and how they were drinking out of gold cups and silver rocks. Yeah. Deuteronomy 28, we're going to pick this up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read it.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground.
Yeah.
And the fruit of thy cattle.
So we just read that with Solomon, man. The fruit of the ground was blessed. The cattle was blessed. I mean, they had it going on. Like, I don't know nobody like this. I don't know no one man living like this. Like, Michael Jackson ain't got nothing on that. You know, he had a little Never Land, but you ain't had no, I bet you go use the bathroom on nothing gold. I bet he had regular commode in there. Keep reading, though.
The increase of thine kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store.
That's good. So you see, we was getting blessed if we would have kept the commandments. Get down to verse 9.
The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself.
So you see what he said? I'm gonna make a holy people unto myself. This was the plan. Keep reading.
As he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, and in the land which the Lord thy God swore unto thy fathers to give thee. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto the land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Keep going.
And the Lord shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them.
Keep reading.
And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
So the Lord put it out there. All you got to do is you keep my commandments, and I'm going to bless you and lift you up and make sure that you ain't going to have to serve nobody. You're going to be alone. You're going to be the bank. You know, we can't black folks. We can go down to the bank. It might be a black person working there, but chances are that bank is owned by Chase, Bank of America, which is, these banks be owned by, they don't be owned by black people. We don't own banks. You know, we might have had a bank every now and again. You know, you might come over one or two every blue moon. But that's not, we don't own that. We ain't loaning nobody no money like that. You know what I'm saying? We the one that's borrowing. And the Lord said that if you was blessed, I was going to bless your field. I was going to bless the fruit of your body. He said, and the Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give rain into thy land in the season, and to bless the work of thy hand. And thou shalt live to many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. Like America would be in debt to us. America owes the Japanese, well, America's in debt to the world $13 trillion. Think they owe the Japanese about 2. You see what I'm saying? Like, we wouldn't be in debt to nobody. You know, they would be owing us that money. So not only would we be getting, you know, a king with 1 billion coming in, but then we'd have countries out there owing us trillions of dollars. This would have been what could have happened if we would have kept the commandments. It's important that you learn and keep the commandments, because curses come when you disobey your God. Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. Same chapter, verse 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
You see what's going to come upon you.
And overtake. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thine kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
Now he talking to his people, and I said earlier his people was black people, and we was going to be able to identify that later on in this class. Now, when you look at these people right here, so far, this is his chosen people, and he's telling his chosen people, if you keep my commandments, I will bless you. If you do what I tell you, I'm going to bless you. This is what God telling this nation, that he met with them at Horeb and talked to them. The creator, God, the one who made us, he talked to this whole group of people. Alright, so then he said, all you got to do is keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you all over the place. But the children of Israel, the sons of Jacob, they ain't want to listen. So he said, if you don't want to listen, then I got curses for you. Okay, so he said, you're going to be cursed in your city, and you're going to be cursed in your field. So you ain't going to be living where you got silver rocks outside no more. Then he said, you're going to curse should be the fruit of your body and the fruit of your land. So we ain't got no land, nah. You know what I mean? But he said the curse should be the fruit of your body. Now, I'm talking like this us, and I ain't necessarily showed you what I need to show you to prove it, but don't worry, we gonna get there. Keep reading.
20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
Okay, let's skip down to verse 25.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So now we learning that this nation, the children of Israel, because they didn't keep the commandments, because we know they didn't, but because they didn't, he said they was going to be removed into all the nations of the earth. That's what it said. So they were going to be removed to all the nations of the earth. Keep reading.
To all nations of the earth. 26. And
skip over to 28.
Okay. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt group at noonday as the blind groupeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Keep reading.
Thou shalt betroth the wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Alright, so it's on YouTube. You can go on YouTube, check out this documentary or movie. Came out when Ken Norton. Ken Norton is in the movie, The Boxers. This came out in the 70s, called Mandingo. So it's the movies, and what this movie is about slavery. And what the slave master, what they were showing in this movie, what the slave master, what he do, he had his son, right? And his son would sleep with all the virgins out on the yard before she go to anybody else. This is what he had to, like, this was his right. Make it so bad that when he went and found his wife, he went out to another land, to a neighbor place. Then got his wife. Shoot, after he slept with her and found out she wasn't no virgin, because he know what a virgin felt like. He slept with all the virgins. He went and got him another woman, another black woman. and brought the black woman back with him back to the house with the white woman. This is what they were doing to us. Yeah. So when it say that, read that verse again, verse 30, read that again.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
So you gonna have a wife, and you gonna be ready, you know, me and this sister here, we hold conversations like, yeah, your daughters get old, they gonna marry my sons, we gonna hook it up, because we on the plantation together. So now we done got it all arranged out, and your daughters turn 15 to 16, my son 17, 18, however we want to run it out. And we like, all right, so this gonna be you. But she a virgin now. Then here come Master. Master like, oh, I got to run through these. This is what he was doing. And this is a part of the curse that came upon no other people but the children of Israel, but us black folks. You don't get Edom talking about these stories about folks running up in their parents' crib, sleeping with them. They don't make books about this. I don't read books about this. Ain't that one only. I read a book. I read a book called California. That's what the book was called, California, and it was about slavery. And the book was about a woman, and she was raped by the master, and then her daughter was about to go get raped by the master, and she didn't want her daughter to get raped because it was the same man that slept with her, and they ended up killing the woman and killing the master and a whole bunch of, it's a book though. But the whole point is, this is what, no other culture has to write books like that. Because that didn't happen to nobody else. They happened to us, black people in America. Keep reading. Where we at? I'm sorry.
Middle of 30.
Let's skip down to verse 32.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
Mm-hmm.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed all the way. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore bouch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head.
Go ahead.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee into a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
All right, so now we're going to go to one of our resource information. We're going to get Brother O'Shea to read for it. This book is called 1001 Things Everyone Should Know About African American History. That's what this book is about. And it's Main Street Books. That's what it is, Main Street Books. And published by Doubleday. Okay? And we're going to look at, this is a real easy book to follow, a real easy book to read. So we're going to go open up here and insert number 9, because it's 1,001 ways and they're going to have that many, and we're going to look at number 9, the slave trade. And you can read all of that part of the slave trade.
The slave trade. Africans in the slave trade. During its 4 centuries of operation, the Atlantic slave trade removed approximately 11.7 million people, mostly from West and Central Africa, with the intention of settling them as slaves in Europe, the Americas, or on islands off the coast of Africa.
So the number they're giving us right now that we done caught in the slave trade was 11.7 million. And that sounds like a lot too. That's a whole lot of people. It's less than that in New York. It's 10 million in New York. It's about 9 million in LA. Population of Chicago about 7 million. Population of the metro area of Atlanta, I think it's about 1 million. You know what I mean? So we got 11 million slaves in the slave trade so far. Let's go to this part. Slave trade numbers debate. Because they're going to argue this fact. So read that subtitle and go on and read down into that.
Slave trade numbers debate. Controversy over the total number of Africans transplanted by the Atlantic slave trade has raged since Philip Curtin's The Atlantic Slave Trade, a census, the first modern quantitative study of the slave trade, was published in 1969. Some felt Curtin's estimate of 9.8 to 10 million Africans arriving in the New World was too low.
They saying that number we just quoted, they saying, well, it's debated that number actually is too low. That we coming up with 9 point something. first of all, I want you to think about something. We sitting here, we looking at these numbers. You know, we wrapping it up. Ain't no other nation even had 1 million people go ship nowhere. Wars don't even have this many people die. But you telling me that 11 million people came to this country as slaves, and then you want to argue about it, and look what the number they gonna argue with you with. Go ahead, keep reading.
But most recent revisions tend to uphold Curtin's overall figure, though his numbers for individual nations as destinations are still disputed. Some of the controversy comes from those who feel that calculating the number of Africans who were brought to the New World at only 10 million devalues the scope and horror of the slave trade.
Keep reading.
Some historians have suggested
this number.
Some historians have suggested as many as 100 million men and women were removed from Africa.
You see that? 100. That's like, that's ridiculous. But they were dying on that too, though. You know what I mean? They just saying, but that's all us. That's what that is. It's all us. I don't care if you put it down to 10 million or if you make it 100 million. That's all of us. That's a whole nation. That ain't happened to nobody else. It couldn't happen to nobody else. Everybody else sitting where they belong, except for the black man. The black man, we don't know where we belong. We get called stuff like Afro-American. How the heck you gonna be two continents? Ain't nobody else called Afro-American. At least we got enough sense to call an Indian a Native American, saying that this is land. You know. So at any rate, let's get back into this Deuteronomy. We had Deuteronomy 28, and we're gonna come in this book again, but right now we're in Deuteronomy 28, and let's go to verse. What's the last verse? We read 37.
We was at 30. We was at 37. We left off 37.
Oh, I want you to finish reading that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know. It says some historians have suggested as many as 100 million men and women were removed from Africa. But keep going to the next page.
But such numbers are grossly exaggerated.
So they're saying that number might be high. It may not be 100 million, maybe 50 million. That's still the size of like 10 major cities in America worth of black folks. Basically what we're saying is more black folks came on the slave trade than live here now. That's what they're saying. Because they've been killing us since we got here. Go ahead, keep reading.
Nevertheless, whether it was 10 million or 100 million, the slave trade was still one of the most devastating events in world history.
You see that? It said the slave trade was one of the most devastating events in world history. Like, forget what happened in the Holocaust, which I've been reading stuff on that. That's a lot of bull that happened. It really didn't even go down like we make it seem like it went down. It was almost like a one quick event that took place. But we can deal with that another time. But it said that regardless, this out in the whole world, this ain't never happened to nobody else. That's what he basically telling you. Still one of the most devastating events in the world. Go ahead, keep reading.
Such a massive population transfer profoundly influenced the development of the American cultures we know today.
Just like we developed Egypt culture.
Yep.
They put all these people over here and it was like, build this place. That's what y'all know how to do it. Y'all been building places. That's what he's telling us. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28. Back there. We're not going to be here long. We definitely almost done. We're over halfway done. So we got a lot of scriptures, a lot of reading, because we ain't picked up that history book yet. But we're going to look at the rise and the fall of the black man in this nation. You know, this nation. The one that we should have. We're going to see what happened to us. Pick it up in verse 40. Did we read 37?
No, we left off from 37.
Read verse 37.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Okay. So now he's telling us we're going to be a proverb, byword, and an astonishment, right? Alright. Let's go to the dictionary. And we're going to go, this is the Webster's New Universal Unabridged Dictionary. Barnes and Noble, that's where I got that from. I don't think I might have paid about $2 for that dictionary. And the first word we're going to look up is, I'm sorry. The first word we're going to look up is nigger. That's the word, nigger. On page 1299, nigger. And this is a new dictionary. You know, this ain't new, this ain't old. I don't have one of them older ones like some people got. It's like a 2010. Now watch it with 2010. Watch the definition A nigga. 2010.
Okay, it says nigger, disparaging and offensive.
Mm-hmm.
A black person.
See, so one of the definitions to this day of a black person is nigger. Or one of the definitions of a nigger to this day is black person. Now the book just said in verse 47, as Deuteronomy 28, verse 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all nations where the Lord shall lead thee. Turn to page 1978. Another word. 1978. 1978. Now we're going to look up this word, thug. You know, because I could have came up with a bunch of other words. I could have came up with with coon, or, you know, I could have came up with colored, or, you know, all the different things that they call black people back in the day. But one of the terms that we know is thugs. You know, we call ourselves this now. Now, let's look at that. What was that thug?
A cruel or vicious ruffian, robber or murderer.
You see that? It say a thug is a cruel or vicious. Read that. What's that again? I can't see.
Ruffian, robber or murderer.
Right. Keep going.
Sometimes, it say one of a former group of professional robbers and murderers in India.
So, why is we trying to be running around here calling ourselves a thug? But that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We thugged out, you know, all the terms that we use. But the Lord said you gotta give account for every word you say. So you accusing yourself of being a robber? We don't even get down like that. Unless you with the robbing crew, and if that's what you with, you're gonna have your own issues to deal with. You gotta replace that stuff. You're gonna deal with God. So I'm just showing here that when they give us these bywords all the way, you know, this ain't no old. Like I could have went and pulled all the old words out. I could have showed you how they called us coons and niggers and all that crazy stuff, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to show that we'll do it today. Even to this day, we'll call ourselves, you know, my dogs, thugs, or, you know, gangsters. Like, you know, the rappers out here, they planting our minds with it. You gotta know who controlling the rappers. That's what you gotta know. The rappers are being controlled by the Edomite. We still ain't got to him, really. Let's get back to Deuteronomy verse 41. 28 and 41.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and the fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he command thee.
Read the next verse slowly.
And they shall be upon thee.
So he's saying that all these curses will be upon his people for what?
For a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
This was going to be how you identify the children of Israel. Today, he said forever. So that means today, if you want to know who the children of Israel are, then you got to look at these curses. This is the only thing he gave us to identify the children of Israel. These curses. Like, you look through this whole book. He going to say in the book, oh, I wonderfully, you know, took you out of this land. You know, I did all this stuff this way. But these curses is the way you know you the black man. So with that being said, we done seen the black man shoot up. We done seen the black man and his king bringing in $1.1 billion on the year. Way back in the day. Way back in the day. But now, you know, we also see that the black man done been dropped. We done been shipped all over the world. By the millions. Not even by the thousands. By the millions. They done went and picked up some more slaves. And they didn't wipe out African population. All they did was wipe out the population in Africa that was already the lowlifes. But we didn't start off on the west side of Africa. We started off on the east side. But let's keep going. Let's get down to verse 49.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young.
Oh, keep reading.
He shall eat.
Now let's get down to 55. Verse 55.
So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat. because he had nothing left in him in the siege, and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates.
Just skip down to 63.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you.
So he's saying that the Lord was pleased to give Solomon all that, but he's going to be pleased to destroy the children of Israel. Because you did wrong. You do wrong, you suffer the consequences. Keep reading.
And to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
All right, so understand what he just said. Now, we walked out of Egypt, and we went through the Red Sea. Everybody know the story. It said here, though, he said that they was going to put you back on Egypt again with ships. That Egypt represented slavery. And when it was brought on ships, that was being brought to America. And this is how you're going to identify this people. Now, earlier, and I don't know if we read this, but it said that also, after it said it was going to be a proverb, it said if you go to verse 35, verse 35. Read that verse again.
The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed.
All right, and skip down. So he said he was going to give us like different plagues and diseases. And if you look at verse 61 or verse 60, he said, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. And then he told him in 61, every sickness and every plague that is not written in this book, all this stuff is going to come upon this people. So check this out. Now we're back into the 1,001 things everyone should know about African American history. And now we're on page 16, and we insert number 40. Start there.
The greatest cause of slaves' deaths, disease. The greatest killer of Africans during the Middle Passage was disease, scurvy, dysentery, smallpox, and a host of other contagious illnesses called fevers, often spread like wildfire through the cramped, congested quarters of the slave ship. One French slave ship, Le Rôdeur, was infected by
crazy disease,
ophthalmia in 1819. Not only all the slaves, but the entire crew were blinded by the disease.
So whatever this disease came, it blinded these folks. Go ahead.
Most eventually recovered their sight. The 39 who did not were thrown overboard, reputedly to avoid reinfecting the rest.
So this is how we was all these plagues that the Lord said he was going to put on the children of Israel. I mean, we can go through and dissect each one of them. They have come upon the children of Israel. And this was because we didn't want to keep the commandments of God. So all we had to do was keep his commandments. Let's go over to Ezekiel chapter 16. Ezekiel chapter 16. We'll look a little bit more over here. Ezekiel chapter 16. So we saw the rise of the black man. We saw the black man, he came up. He was, like I said, he came up to the point where his king brought in $1.1 billion in 1 year, sat on a gold throne, drank out of gold cups, and had silver rocks outside. And if you ain't doing it big with that, I don't know what big is. You know what I mean? Like, you have to tell me, I guess you own the world then. They say this dude was the smartest dude on the world, and it basically was the richest. So we was up there, and the Lord gave us strong men. We had a man one time, he was so fast, he could He outran the chariot. Elijah said he outran the chariot. You know, so we was a great nation, but we did not serve our God like we were supposed to. Ezekiel 16, and pick it up, read verse 1 and 2.
Again the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations.
Oh, skip down to verse 6. You read 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Okay, skip down to verse 6.
And when I passed by thee, and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, live. Yea, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, live. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments.
Okay, so he's talking about the children of Israel here. And he was like, first of all, he said, again, the Lord came to come to Jerusalem. Let Jerusalem know what she done did wrong, right? So then he started comparing Jerusalem and the children to this woman. And he's like, when I found you, I saw you, they had you polluted in your blood like you was being birthed and you was still in your blood. He's like, wasn't nobody trying to, wasn't nobody trying to do nothing with you, do nothing for you. So I passed by and I made you mine. Go ahead, where you at?
In the middle of 7.
Go ahead.
Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou was naked and bare.
So he's still talking to the children of Israel, and he was like, you was naked, you didn't have nothing. Now I gave you something, made you look good. Go ahead.
8. Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was as the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine.
So he's like, look, the Lord made a covenant just like a man make a covenant with his wife, and you was his.